welcome to nighttime at Read, Rant, and Review. My cat is down there if you're wondering what's bumping the camera. So tonight I'm going to film you a couple of top 10/top 5 videos that I've had in my head for a little while and haven't managed to do. You're welcome. Today's video is my top 10 standalone books. These are books that have, while they might have companions or sequels, stand all on their own with a beginning, middle, and end. No cliffhanger, you know, trying to hook you so you'll read the sequels. It's just a book from beginning, middle to end, because everything seems to be a series nowadays, and sometimes you just want to read a standalone book. So, what are my favorites? Let's find out. At number 10, we have a book from my childhood, one that I loved reading and rereading as a kid, and that is The Secret Garden. It is a great little standalone book, a very quick read. Like I said, I read it over and over again when I was a child. I identified with the main character and loved the adventure and the notion of adventure being found right in your backyard. And even as a kid, I was always looking for like walled-in areas and keys hidden under the dirt. You know, it was something that I did. And this book was really great. Didn't feel like it needed, you know, sequels. It just stood on its own, and it was beautiful. At number 9, we have Ready Player One. Ready Player One is a more recent read of mine, and it's unfortunately scoring low on this list because the book itself has some flaws. Still a great book, still a great standalone book, a delightful read if you are nerdy and if you love 80s references. 80s music, 80s video games, 80s movies. If you are into that, you will probably love Ready Player One. So go check it out. It's not a big time commitment because it's just a standalone book. Number 8 is another book from my childhood. There's going to be a lot of these books from my childhood on here, I think. Number 8 is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Now I know what you're thinking. You're like, but hey, that's part of a giant series. And it is, but The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe stands on its own really well. And in fact, while I love The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and I reread it, it's another one of those ones that I reread all the time. I should read it again some point soon because I miss it. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe was the only one in that series that I could really get into. I know that's terrible, but I tried reading the others and I didn't like them. I don't know. I've tried it several times and I just didn't like them. And I love The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, so maybe it's just because it is a standalone book. Coming in at number 7 is The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. This book is dark. This book will traumatize you. If you have a weak constitution, I don't recommend you read this book. It is historical fiction. A lot of the things are fictionalized, but as we'll be talking about also with our number 6, what really fascinates me about this book is the notion of what makes truth true. While this story did not happen in real life, things like it were, if you know what I mean. And it's a very true story without being a true story. Does that make sense? I loved it. You should definitely check out The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. If you're not really sensitive about, I mean, it is about, you know, Nazi Germany and Jews being killed, and if that is not something you want to read about, then I would heartily recommend you stay away from The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. This is not a happy book. Kinshu agrees, is not happy. Okay, number 6 is The Things They Carried, and that it is in the same vein as The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, and that it is sort of historical fiction-esque. It is about soldiers in Vietnam, and like The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, none of the stories actually happened, but they are all true, if that makes sense. And I'm fascinated by the dichotomy of what makes a story true, and I loved all of the shorter stories in this book. It was like a collection of short stories, a collection of stories about the people, about soldiers in Vietnam and the things they brought with them, the things they carried. And it was very, again, very dark and very well written. If you're looking for standalone books that will make you have some serious feels, like grown-up feels, like not, ooh, the boy likes the girl feels, we're talking about feels about death and war and bad shit that happened in our history, Read The Boy in the Striped Pajamas and the Things They Carried. Coming in at number 5 is much lighter fare, and that is Holes. Holes I actually did not read when I was younger. I came to it when I was older. All you can see is Kinchu's tail. I hope that's not really annoying. And I was like, am I gonna like this book? You know, it's for young, it's a young adult book, but sometimes those can be a little bit, I don't know, juvenile. But I loved Holes, and I still reread it. It's a great standalone book. There is a sequel, but Holes has a beginning, a middle, and end, and you don't need, it doesn't like try to hook you in for the sequel. So definitely check it out. Number 4 is one of my favorite books of all time, and that is The Hobbit. Now again, I know what you're thinking. You're like, well, what about The Lord of the Rings? Same thing as with The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I love The Hobbit. I reread it every chance I get. When I was a kid, I would read it. When I got to the end, I would just start right over again. I loved it that much. I tried to read The Lord of the Rings. I got through the first book and about halfway through the second book, and then I just gave up because I was so bored. I love the movies, and maybe if I went back and tried to read Lord of the Rings now, I might be able to make it through, but oh my gosh, I was so bored. Give me The Hobbit any day. If you're looking for a quick, fun adventure story, The Hobbit is really the way to go. Number 3 is Coraline. It is sort of a horror story. It's very dark, again, but it's not dark in the way that the Things They Carried and The Boy with the Striped Pajamas are dark. I guess I would call it kind of a haunting book. It's really spooky without being like overtly spooky, and I love it. I don't like the movie too much because of the way that I was able to picture things in the book, and the relationships that the characters had in the book are so much better than in the movie. I think if you liked the movie, you would really like the book. Yeah, all I can say is check out Coraline, especially since, it's that time of year, it's a spooky time of year. Number 2 is Fangirl. I enjoyed Fangirl immensely, as those of you who have seen my review of it will notice. I really like Fangirl. I relate so strongly to the main character of Kath. And again, I love that this is a complete story, beginning, middle, end, no sequels, just completeness. The character development is great. I can relate so deeply to the characters. That's why I love it so much. And my number 1 favorite standalone book, a book that I will continue to go back to periodically, is Speak. Clearly I like some darker books we're getting here. Speak is an amazingly written book, and it resonates with me. The main character really resonates with me, not necessarily because we have had the same bad experiences in our lives, but because I understand her desire to be silent and her desire to have the right to be silent, and that sort of closed offness that she can get and I can get for different reasons, but it's definitely there. That what is the point of speaking? Who will listen to me anyway? Kind of feeling that she has and I have had very strongly in my life. And so yeah, Speak, my number 1 favorite standalone novel. You should definitely check it out. And if you are sensitive to certain themes, I don't want to get into them here because I don't want to spoil the reveal in the book, but definitely do a little bit of research on Speak before you read it if you're concerned. So yeah, those were my top 10 standalone books. I hope that you enjoyed this video. What are your favorite standalone books? Definitely share them in the comments. And I'm sure I'll think of more as soon as this video is over, but I hope that you will check out a few of mine. And I'll check out some of yours if you post them below. See you later, guys.